some gears on it and call it steampunk. That's the trendy fashion nowadays. A copper painted chunk or some 1980s junk will fetch a pretty penny on eBay.
This show is all about our passion for creating, inspiring others, and figuring out creative ways for our passions to help other people. It's no longer a hobby, and it's more than a passion. It's a way of life. When we started just 8 years ago, it was all about having fun. Then, that fun grew into a bit of an obsession. We started building larger props, massive costumes, and even vehicles. We fell in love with steampunk and cosplay, and Hatton Cross Steampunk has become a worldwide presence. My name is Dave Lee. We are Hatton Cross Steampunk, and this is HCS Creates. In this episode, we're going to get aggressive with our builds and our timeline. We're going to build a steampunk vehicle for the Wild Wild WestCon in Tucson, Arizona, and we're going to build a werewolf costume for MarsCon in Williamsburg, Virginia. With 6 days to go, let's get started. So rather than fabricate a vehicle from scratch, what we're going to do is we're going to start with a donor vehicle. We're going to start with a riding lawnmower that I got from Stephen Chapman, and we're going to slice and dice and make our steampunk roadster from that.
Yeah, since we're going for that roadster look, we're going to stretch the frame out, take the tiny wheels off, and replace them with dirt bike wheels.
We're going to build out the body of the car to give it a pre-1920s look with a boat-tail rear end.
And after all of that, we're going to have some real fun. We'll be adding twin giant Gatling guns to this vehicle.
We will?
Absolutely.
Why?
Well, you always say anything worth doing is worth overdoing.
We have a lot to do. Let's get started.
So our trusty robot, Rusty, has been working hard in the wood shop and fabricated this piece right here. This is the platform base that the body is actually being attached to, and it is attaching to the lifts, the 2x4 lifts that we've got on the frame. So we're going to go ahead and put that in now and get started working on the body. Lined up. Hey Jessica.
Where do you want your screws?
They're loose. Here, go ahead and put these in right here.
Okay.
Yep.
There you go.
Okay.
Got it.
Next one. Hold it. So we got the donor vehicle up on the stand. My brother-in-law, Dave Hoffman, was awesome, did a great job on slicing the frame up and extending it about 10 inches, using steel tubular frame to reinforce and give us a nice long roadster look.
And here you see the dirt bike wheels that we got from an online site to help out, keep costs down, and we think it really gives it a nice retro pre-1920s look.
We've already started building out the frame, so the next step will be to cover it in galvanized steel to make it look like a real roadster. Hi, my name's Jessica Lee.
I'm Jordan Gonzalez.
I'm Joseph Lee. My brother is David Lee.
I am an author for HCS Publishing, and on the side, I do a little bit of detail painting and general costuming.
I'm a musician. I'm the newest member of Hatton Cross Steampunk, and whenever we have a project going, I help out wherever is needed.
8 years ago, he had these crazy ideas of steampunk, and I'd never heard of it before, and the more he talked about it, he was just 100% gung-ho about it, and it just kind of got me excited about it and exploring what this stuff really is and what it's about.
To me, steampunk is what the people of the Victorian era thought science fiction was going to be like. So it's a lot of futurism within the 1800s and basically what they thought technology was going to be like.
I love history more than anything in the world, even alternate history. With steampunk, I get to go to conventions and really express myself and see tons of other people that are also just really enjoy being there.
I guess after 8 years, I still don't quite know how to define it really. To me, it's just like an escape. It's to embrace like your inner creative side and create something that's unique to you, but involves like this whole like Victorian era look. And I personally love the sci-fi side of it, creating something that has already been done, but turning it into something steampunk. And that's really exciting to me.
One thing that I really like about steampunk is that it's very empowering for a lot of women because you can be dressed in this big fabulous gown, but you can still have a gun on your hip.
I think steampunk really is, as cheesy as it sounds, it's a way of life for me. It's a philosophy because the fun parts of it tell you to build and make and learn how to do things and let your inner child out and have fun. And that's a great philosophy for life, If people would follow that, then they would get more enjoyment out of life, more quality out of life.
All right, so our brother-in-law David Hoffman did some really amazing work here with some bushings to overcome the different diameters with the axle and wheel.
So the back wheel, turning a front wheel, motorcycle wheel, into a rear drive wheel, where the wheel is used to spinning on an axle, actually required a cutout of the existing lawnmower wheel to be welded and bolted to the motorcycle wheel so that we could have the axle turn it and not break or come apart. So we framed out with flanges and supports here, the back end, the
Boat tail rear end.
Yes, thank you. The boat tail rear end, and that is now going to get clad with cleats. So while the team continues to work on the chassis, working on cladding out the front end and the back end of the Roadster, we're going to go ahead and start on the Werewolf build for MarsCon. And the Werewolf costume itself is being built by Mike Brody, but we're going to work on the armor for it and a mechanical arm. And what we're going to use is EVA foam floor mats. And these are fantastic. All of our armor is built out of this stuff. And let's get started.
I like things that are comfortable
All right.
as much as they can get
Mike.
comfortable.
So it's not hitting up against your neck.
Never underestimate proper fitting, especially if you're at a con for like 8 hours and you're wearing this. It can get painful. Hi, my name is Michaela Lee. I'm originally from Germany. I'm David Lee's wife. I do costuming, painting. I love taking things, reinventing them, upcycling, if you want to say. I love, love, love beadwork. That's kind of like the stuff I like to do. You know, something I can put on my body, I can use in belly dance performances, or I have a whole like mermaid. This is the mermaid crown, steampunk outfit. I just love playing with the fake hair, the beads, you know, and putting it all together and creating all of these characters. I love making jewelry, silk scarves, anything I can get my hands on. It's wonderful that it flow so well within all this steampunk stuff that David is doing.
When we first got into it, my daughter was a 13-year-old, teenager who, in the medieval reenactment world, was being told you couldn't do this, you couldn't do that because she's a girl. And I could see the disdain and frustration. And so with steampunk, she got the opportunity to not only not hear that, but to rebel against that notion even and be whatever the heck she wanted to be. And so the punk part of it is rebellion, but it's a bit of redemption, and it's a bit of pride and independence. MarsCon, I think, started in 1990 or 1995. I'm not entirely sure. But in 2005 was our very, very, very first convention we ever went to. And I went to this in MarsCon in Williamsburg and was just blown away. On one hand, I was a little overwhelmed with the amount of geekery going on with Star Wars, Star Trek, medieval, fairies, you name it, it's there. And I thought, this looks like a lot of fun. It's like a big Halloween party that lasts a whole weekend instead of one night. And so over the years, we got to know the people that run it, and just, I don't know, for us, it's kind of like, it's our home convention, and no matter what, I'm gonna do what I can to support it because they're just a great group of people and it's a fun convention.
I think that was one of our first steampunk conventions, and I remember just having like the very basic steampunk outfits because we didn't quite know what it was yet.
Well, and when you were 13 and you sold or had your first book published, MarsCon was the first place we went to sell books. I always think that this sounds like a boat.
You better start believing in cyber werewolves. We are building one.
What are you working on now?
I'm going to cut a band about 1 inch to go around there. How is that possible? So all of these edges, as you're looking at it, look really rough, the circles and all of that stuff. But what we're going to do is we're going to go back after we've got it all built and fleshed out. We're going to take the Dremel to it and do a lot of the texturing and get the edges cleaned up. And then probably add a little bit of battle damage perhaps. Maybe some long scratch marks from the other werewolves that the good werewolf has been fighting. And then we'll have a really cool, smooth-looking backpack and armor. And so then what we're going to do after that is it gets the texturing, which is a spray-on plastic coat, usually for coating car rims. And that'll be once that's the coat. About 4 or 5 coats of that is what really seals it and makes it durable, and then allows you to really get a good paint job on it, because foam does not paint for squat. It's too porous, it's too soft, and but when you have the plastic coat on it, then it's magic. So hold it with your hand right here, because it does support the weight. So I think with all of the hoses that we're going to put, which we clean up, we're going to add some more texture, we're going to add some stuff here. We'll have all of the hoses coming from probably here down, multiple layers, lots of hoses, and then we'll have some of the lights with the crinoline wrap around them, and then you'll have your power source for your werewolf combat armor. So on the werewolf armor, I've kind of jumped ahead a little bit, but the creative process as it goes, if you don't have a well-defined plan, you're going to start winging things and you're going to start making changes and realize what you did you don't really like. So one of the things that I changed was these pieces here. They were 2 on each side and I just didn't like the way it flowed. And so what we're going to do, or what I did, was remove them, place them here. And I found a cool piece in our bin of things from the flea market, this little frame here, and I started to add framing to it to kind of box it in. I'm going to put some hoses here. And then on the bottom, there's, you're not just limited to the EVA foam mats. You can also get some of the 2mm foam sheets. These are great. You get smaller sizes, you can get the bigger sizes. We got a pack here. And they're real easy to get pretty much any store. But this stuff is great too because you can use it for a lot of different detail marks. And so it looks out of place right now because it's red or pink, but it's going to get a coating of the plastic spray that will make everything black. And so you won't even notice in the end. But what I did was, on this, I cut out kind of these little flaps, and then I started to glue them up, because using the little technique we talked about earlier, I'm going to put some googly eyes here for rivets, and it'll make it have a more machine look. So
I leave for 2 seconds and everything changes.
Well, you know how it goes. You get an idea, and then you start rolling, and next thing you know, you're taking things apart.
We're going to see the native environment, the werewolf, something or other.
That's a terrible accent. What do you think? Is this more symmetrical if I put this little voltmeter here? Or if I put it off to the side, kind of causing asymmetrical? Dracula says?
Asymmetrical is pretty nice. Symmetry is too formal.
Symmetry is for losers.
Symmetry is actually for Wes Anderson.
I was thinking Silva.
Silva?
Anderson Silva.
Ah. Isn't he a fighter?
He was.
It's so sad that he passed away so young.
He what? Anderson Silva passed away?
I'm only kidding, he hasn't died.
Alright, so this is going to be embarrassing. That, of course, will not hold this on its own, but it will be a start. Just glue some clocks on it and call it steam. The show, to me, means everything. It's kind of a validation of the last 8 years of my life that it wasn't for naught. But to have the show and to share my passion and my family's passion for this and to connect with people at a whole different level and audience, I suppose, is everything. You know, I mean, I guess anything you believe strongly in, you like to share that with people. And so this gives me an opportunity to share this with a whole lot more people than online media will, social media will do. And then the first step is it's going to get a basically a treatment with the heat gun that's going to help seal all of the foam, and then it's going to get a coat of the spray-on plastic coating. So we're going to send that over to our paint department with Jessica and let her take care of that today. Don't plug it in yet.
Booyah.
Okay.
Police love.
All right, unplug it. What you can do too is we can solder those together so they stay, and then when you go to solder them to the next wire, there's already solder on it. It'll be easier to do because it'll keep them from popping off, and a lot of times.
So, do you guys know what you're doing?
No. Totally winging it. We here at Winged Industries are a company founded upon winging it.
Yep. We fake it till we make it.
And if the stuff burns down, hey, we start again.
So fake it till you make it, right? But
That's right.
What if you never make it?
Well, we have fun trying.
The thing you got to realize when you're applying caulk, make sure that you get a good covering, even if you got to get this crap on your hand.
This is the throttle cable that we're going to have to work into the dashboard somehow. So we're not sure if we're going to come through it yet, or maybe run it, like here on the outside, see when you're driving. So me and Rusty are still coming up with ideas on what exactly to do with this throttle cable. Yeah, we're twisting it.
Who is that?
Who's that, Rusty?
Oh my god! This better.
Well, yeah, I just drove 10 hours. How's it going?
Hi. Hi, strange way.
Who's that?
Who's this unbearded man?
I don't know. Some random stranger just shows up out of nowhere. What's going on, guy?
What the heck?
We've got that famous bounty hunter. Wait, you need
the dude.
Okay. Cover the
10 hours worth it. I'm gone.
But John, you haven't broken anything yet.
John!
Come on, John.
What did you do?
Well, my name's John Strangeway. I'm just a cosplayer that I've known Dave for, 7 years? And I come out and help wherever I can. I promote. That's, I guess, my big angle is helping promotion. So yeah, that's what I can do for HCS. What is steampunk? I got into it because it just brought to life for me the beauty of the sci-fi genre in the late 1800s, and it just came to life in the convention scene, and it took on its own form when cosplay was kind of still growing, and it just allowed you to become an individual because there were no set characters, there were no set designs. It was whatever your imagination led it to be and what you wanted to create in concept for your costume. It just evolved from there. It took on all the different mediums, whether it be music, literature, fun project videos, or whatever the DIY guys wanted to make, whatever the costumers wanted to make, and it just boomed over the past easily 10 years. It's spawned a whole bunch of new generation of makers, which I think is really cool, and It drove them to create YouTube videos, tutorials, all different types of blogs to help people pass on the knowledge of, you can do this yourself, which then in turn spawned a whole new slew of makers in the cosplay scene. They're like, wow, we can use these different materials. We have the tools and education now. It's readily available to us. So I think that's the tie-in where steampunk has kind of also, altered a bit. It's not just about Victorian sci-fi. It's adapted and grown into other communities.
Yeah, so now we know that the electronics work, and we're going to wrap this up and send it off to Jessica over in the paint shop.
Okay. All right, so now that it's my job to paint, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cover all of the clock, this piece right here, and this little gauge with some tape, so that way when I paint over it, it doesn't, obviously cover anything up. We're not going to worry about this piece. I was instructed that that is supposed to be covered with paint as well, and then we'll go in later and detail a little bit with like silver and some other colors. So I'm going to go ahead and start taping up.
There aren't even stairs there. How did he do
Wow!
Work, a lot of stuff that does work.
Now that I'm finished taping, we're going to take it over to the paint shop, and it'll get about 4 to 5 coats of liquid plastic.
45?
4 to 5. Okay, we're here at the paint shop. Let's get this door open. Okay, well, it looks like before I can start painting, I gotta move this stock car out of the way. One of the nice things about our sponsor and partner, ComServe Wireless, is that we get to play with their cool toys. John, Father.
Now here today. Let me know if I'm clearing the sides fine.
I'm good on my side.
Oh, I'm getting excited just touching that.
Might break it.
So pretty. This is pretty.
All of this will get about 3 or 4 coats, maybe even 5 if needed. So if the first coat doesn't go on solid, it's okay, because we're just going to go over it again.
All right, so we got a busy couple of days ahead of us. We had intended on doing all of this in 6 days and kind of creating that illusion of the time crunch, when in fact we really needed not to create any illusion of time crunch, because there really is. And so instead of doing 6 days, we're filming in 6 days. But we did a little bit of prep work a few days beforehand, and we've done a lot of prep work in the 2 weeks in between the first 3 days and the second 3 days of filming, which was over Christmas. So presented a challenge, visiting family and all that kind of good stuff. And we employed the heck out of Rusty, our robot friend, carpenter extraordinaire. And he's done some pretty amazing work, and look forward to showing you that and taking advantage of the last 3 days of filming to get all of this wrapped up and done. So Oh, and I'm also pretty stoked about our new aprons. The first couple ones came in today from Master Creations Enterprises and from our good friend Mike Perotti, who's also HCS. So I'm gonna look forward to getting this thing dirty and broken in. Let's get started.
So today I'm working on doing the werewolf head. I took a werewolf head from another manufacturer and I put it on my helmet so that when I put it on top of my head, I will be a little taller. I'm hoping to get as tall as Dave, but hope springs eternal. So right now I'm getting ready to carve out the area for the eye because this one is a little more cartoony than I like, and nobody likes a cartoony werewolf. So I'm going to be putting the eye in here and having to carve that out so that the eye will fit in it and make it look more wolf-like. And I'll also be building up the muzzle and making it snarl instead of having that happy-go-lucky cartoon look. So that's what I'm working on today. Hi, my name is Michael Anthony Perotti, and I'm the cosplay, nitpicking, detail-oriented kernel part of the Hatton Cross Steampunk team. Well, for me, steampunk is science fiction. I grew up in the late 50s, and I grew up watching all the old movies on a black and white screen, War of the Worlds, Time Machine, and once I saw the costumes and the inventions on the screen, I wanted to do that myself. Then I met Dave Lee at Hatton Cross Steampunk, and he got me involved in this steampunk thing, and I realized shortly thereafter that I was steampunk before steampunk was steampunk. I see steampunk as a way to let out your inner inventor and your inner kid and look at things to repurpose them. So it's kind of a greening movement, and it's kind of mind expanding where you use what you see around you and make different things out of it. What looks like a piece of PVC pipe to somebody ends up becoming a machine gun. What looks like maybe a lamp or a candlestick becomes part of a space gun. And it's enjoyable to me when we go to events and people go, "Oh my God, that's a candlestick." That's the cool part about steampunk, and steampunk is that aesthetic, that Victorian aesthetic where guys and girls dress up nice and wear nice clothes and act nice to each other, and I think those days have kind of gone by the wayside, so it's nice to be able to do that on weekends and with your friends.
My main focus for the day will be painting the backpack. So I've already started. The last time we filmed, we finished covering the backpack in 4 layers of the liquid plastic paint, and then we covered it with a high gloss black enamel paint. So that way it's nice and glossy, it's easier to paint. I've already started to go in here with graphite paint to kind of add a little bit of dimension, and I'll go in and outline a little bit of this here too and add some extra pops of color. And when I'm done here, I'll help out with my mom wherever I can. Hey, what are you working on?
So I'm working on this special weapon for you.
Okay.
It's gonna be, I started out with something really kind of from an inexpensive store and spray painted it, glued on some detail. I'm gonna make talons for it and cover it with a little bit of the fur that we got. So she's gonna wear the backpack, and that's kind of covering one arm, and I'm gonna be working on the other arm. I also made a pattern, and I'm gonna try to make cute little werewolf ears because she's gonna be a cute werewolf.
I'm
so.
gonna be the cute one.
Yes, she is the cute one. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna be doing. I'm stippling paint on here, which kids at home don't use spray paint and then the acrylic paint. It's really a pain to work, so try your stuff out first. But I'm trying to give it dimension so it loses its kind of flat appearance and give it dimension and just some interest.
So with the Roadster, we got a lot, or Rusty got a lot done with some of our assistants, and basically this metal hood is roughly fabricated. They've got some red plastic trim that's going to be coming to help not slice fingers open like I've done, And then we've got some really cool brass door knockers that are going to be attached so that you can use them to pull and open up to get access to the engine. Still got quite a bit to do. Jordan is going to be working on the front end here, and we also got this grill clad up in a copper finished aluminum sheet. So we'll be taking all these screws out and adding in more of the pop rivets like we have on the hood, and then the front piece here. Joe can tell you about the back.
Here you can see where Rusty and I have just about finished with the bow tail in here. We went ahead and we weren't decided with the caulker, go with the paint. So we decided that we were going to go with the paint finish here. Gives it a nice, better look to it. Then we had to tape it off, and then we did the stain right here. Give it some nice brass finish to the back here. So I think it's coming along really well.
Basically, he's the whiner.
Oh. I'm going to put some blood on my apron. Yes.
Okay, so this is your Bob Ross moment. Go ahead and tell me about this whole painting process and how emotional it is.
How emotional? Very distressing. Get it? Because I'm distressing. Oh, that's not good. So we finished the original coat of paint with the first few layers, and now it's time for me to just go in and do a little bit of detail painting.
What I'm doing right now is I'm working on trying to give that snarl look that the wolves have. So I've got to layer it and piece of foam in there so that it does that. I'm trying a new technique here. I'm using the blue foam with barge cement to see if that's going to hold, but it's being difficult, so I may have to change over to something else.
So what you're saying is you can teach an old dog new tricks.
Yeah.
Isn't that just freaking pretty?
Joe looks a little nervous.
Joe, like that, open it up, and then now push down again. There you go, like that, so it has more to grip. And then watch those fingers.
Oh!
Yeah. When you're doing this, children, keep in mind that that pop rivet, if you have your fingers in the wrong place, you can end up pinching the heck out of your finger. I'm going to go off in the corner and cry now. But now, thankfully, we have responsible adults doing this.
Responsible? Really?
Oh, and it should come on. Yeah, well, sometimes it does and sometimes it doesn't.
I've mixed together 2 parts of a plastic resin casting concoction, and I made a mold of what's going to be the eye out of silicone. And now I will carefully pour in about an hour, that'll be ready to go. We'll come back and take a look at it when it's ready. All right, so this is about ready. You can see that it's turned white. It's been sitting here for about an hour or so. It's not quite cured, but I'm going to take it out so that it cures a little bit better. And just pop it out. And there you go. Here's the original.
So we just got the Gatling gun back from the paint shop from Jessica, who did an amazing job with it. And so now we're going to add some finishing touches to it. So since we decided to keep the hood in that original color scheme, we decided to match the barrels with the hood so that it all kind of ties together nicely. And so we're taking these tiny little brushes here, and once again, more tedious work. We're very, you can see where I've already started. And we're just gonna gently paint it on. I'm not doing a full cover, so that way it gives it kind of a distressed look, because this thing hunts dinosaurs and we don't want it to look like it just came, out of an assembly line somewhere. So once again, more tedious work with this wonderful Gatling cannon. And look at the boss over there. We do all the hard work. That's the day for you.
You see, not everybody has what it takes to delegate authority and to manage artists. So I take my experiences from my day job as a government employee of the federal government, not state, federal. And I just supervise and I tell them, you're doing a good job. Keep it up. The boys here are doing a good job. I'm actually quite pleased. Who says I'm not good at delegating and trusting people to do work, huh?
I think it needs a little bit of touch up over there on the right gun and the left gun and the right gun. You keep up the good work there, Joe. Good work. Keep it up.
These guys, I swear. So here we are at the almost at the final point, and tensions are a little high right now. We're a little stressed. Really worried that we're going to be able to get everything done in time, so that we can roll everything out at these different conventions and stuff. And a lot of ideas being thrown around, and final, is it going to look like this, or are we going to go with this paint scheme? So a lot left to do, but I'm confident we're gonna pull it all off.
We're coming up on the final stretch, and me and my mom changed the idea completely recently, so I'm a little bit worried that we won't be able to get everything done. We changed the idea completely, where before I was supposed to be like a half machine, half human werewolf mixture. But now we decided to change it to where I'll actually be a werewolf huntress, because it made a little bit more sense with what we were building. We were having trouble actually coming up with something that would make me look half werewolf, half human, that didn't look cartoony. So we don't have a cool bodysuit like Mike, so we decided to change it last minute. So now I'm a huntress, and so I will be pitted against Mike. But I'm hoping that we can finish everything. We've changed the plan completely from what we originally wanted to do. We're not really doing a robot arm anymore, just because we kind of ran out of time, so we're building a shield instead. So I'm hoping that everything gets done, but we'll see what happens.
One of the things we want to do on this show is we want to test the theory that these are fun things for your inner 5-year-old. And so what better way to find out if these are actually cool to kids than to ask some kids. So we got my neighbors over here are gonna come and join us. I call her Princess Leia and Julian, and these two have helped me out on other projects, and so we're gonna get their opinion. All right, you two, step over here first to the Roadster. Now, Joe's gonna tell you a little bit about our Roadster.
It originally started out as a riding lawnmower, has gradually over time turned into this awesome thing that we call a Roadster.
That was incredibly descriptive, Joe. What is our Roadster equipped with, Joe? What is our Roadster equipped with?
Oh. 2-hour Roadster that comes fully equipped with dinosaur killing tranquilizer and Gatling cannons.
It's cool how they roll.
And we have lights underneath, and we have headlights here, and we can actually drive it. So what do you think?
I really like it. So do I. I like the eagle on it. Yeah, I'm inspecting the wheel. Oh, this part's coming off, but it's good so far. Oh, there's pipes. Looks good. The same thing. I also like the eagle. Yeah, the eagle's really cool. It feels like real gold. Oh, this oh, it's plastic. Good. Kid tested and kid approved.
This is our werewolf huntress outfit. This is supposed to be obviously like a little bit of a shield. If you can listen really carefully. That's actually googly eyes that we have painted to look like rabbits. That's my favorite thing about the costume. And this is supposed to be like a claw. On the back you can see we have a couple of lights and things light up really cool. Lights are always cool.
I like lights. Especially if you have an outfit or costume.
What do you guys think?
I really like it because my favorite animal is wolves.
Oh,
yeah, that's
okay.
actually mine too. I also like googly eyes.
The googly eyes?
Yeah.
I know, I always think that's pretty cool.
Yeah. I like the claw too. It's really cool. Yeah. It also kind of looks like the wolf is actually eating your elbow.
He's eating my elbow.
So what do you think? What's the verdict?
I like it. Kid tested and kid approved.
Yeah, Mike's werewolf suit is still a work in progress, as you can see, but he's going to tell you about it.
So I have more work to do, of course. A werewolf needs teeth, so I'll be putting teeth into his mouth, and I'll be able to open it.
Right now he's an old werewolf.
And the eyes will light up. There'll be red eyes in there. And then I'll be able to breathe smoke out of the nostrils. So when I say I'll huff, and I'll puff, and I'll blow your house down, I'll blow and there'll be smoke coming out of my nostrils.
That's cool.
And then I'll also be up a little taller, like this.
Because you're a werewolf.
Put the nails on the hands and the hair on the hands. What do you think?
I like it. One of the things I like is because it's a motorcycle helmet.
Uh-huh.
That's
Safety.
cool.
Safety first.
Yeah. Also, I like because that's kind of the way how my mom had to make her Halloween costume.
Mm-hmm.
She was Edward Scissorhands, so she had to do a lot of work on the hands. I really like the mask.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's cool. Yeah.
That's what took the longest.
And I like the big buff suit.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks.
So that was good.
Kind of looks like a, like, what is the fur stuff?
It's real fur.
Oh, that's cool.
So what do you think? What's the verdict?
Kid tested and kid approved.
Thank you.
We're pretty much done, but we're not anywhere close to being done. It's the fun bit of all of these things of, you know, there's some parts where I'm just totally flabbergasted that we got this far, and other parts where I still look at the list of things that didn't work out the way I planned. My whole plan for motorizing the Gatling guns was a disaster. The motors that I had selected was a far too complicated design, and they were too powerful. They were drawing too much current and actually melted one wire, caught another wire on fire, and luckily we had no injuries and nothing damage to the shop, but I still have to figure out a solution, and MarsCon is literally right around the corner. So even though we're done with day 6 or nearing completion of day 6, I'm still gonna have to pull a few all-nighters to get this all working right, because if I go into the reveal going, it should do this and it should do that, it's a whole setting the tone of failure, and I can't have that. We put too much time, effort, blood, sweat, and tears into this, and it has to be perfect.
So, first and foremost, we built a vehicle because, you know, when we said we have 6 days of filming, what can we do in 6 days? I said, a vehicle sounds doable to me. And I came clean in the video that
we had intended on doing all of this in 6 days and kind of creating that illusion of the time crunch.
You know, while we only filmed 6 days, we had a 2-week break in between where we built the heck out of that car in the back there. And so you're probably looking at it and see some things that look familiar. You're saying it looks like Chitty Chitty Bang Bang's car. That is only a coincidence, because I don't want to get sued by Disney. And if you're saying the dinosaur emblem on the side, you're thinking that looks like Jurassic Park. That's only a coincidence, because I don't want to get sued by whoever makes Jurassic Park. God bless them, great series though. So if I could get everybody who's in the aisle to kind of give a little bit of space, one of our cast members, Jordan Gonzalez, is going to push it down here so you can see. It is built on a riding lawnmower chassis. So it is drivable, but for the sake of carpets and conventions, it has no oil, no gasoline, and no battery in it. So that we can't mess up any carpets, we can't do anything. But I tell you what, if I could start it up, it sounds 10 times more annoying than that 16-year-old in a Honda down the street from you. Because everybody's got one, I know you do. Maybe you're one of those 16-year-olds, and I apologize, but you should know that your cars are annoying, unless they look like this. Let's get a round of applause for Jordan. That is not easy to push around. And in this corner, the SPCA. And in that corner. So let's give a big round of applause for them, please.
Yeah, so here we are at the end, and we've got the Roadster that I primarily, that was my role this time, was putting all that stuff together, and to actually start off with a riding lawnmower and then turn it into what it is now, the Roadster. That's pretty amazing, and it was, you know, a wonderful journey along the way, watching it transform, and so it was awesome being a part of it, and you know, learning all the stuff along the way, and just a lot of fun.
So the overall look in the end, I think it's nothing what I expected, but I was happy the way it turned out. And it's, for me personally, it's really hard just to kind of make a plan and then stick 100% to it. And every now and then it's like, oh, but we could do that. And so some of the wolf parts that were supposed to start out on the head actually ended up on the shoulder, and you know, things like that. I don't think you could tell that we started out with these little kids gauntlets we found for $1 at a store, and I mean, it took a little bit of work, but I really think it was totally worth it. And I'm sorry, but I'm biased. You know, my daughter wore it, and she's the most awesome person anyway, so you know, she totally rocked it.
As you can see, I think it came together pretty well. I was actually working on this until 1 o'clock yesterday morning. I got everything working though. I got the smoke working, I got the job working, and I got the eyes working. So, and I think the crowd really liked it. I heard them when I came out. They were really impressed with it. So I'm really happy with the way it turned out. You know, of course, there's some things I'll improve on the next one, but all in all the work and time and effort was well worth it, and I really love being here at MarsCon to show off the werewolf from MarsCon.
So it seemed like the costumes came off really, really well. Everybody cheered really loud, it seemed like. Maybe I'm just thinking that in my head. That's just what I want to think. But everybody seems like they really like the costumes. I've had a couple people come up to me afterwards, you know, asking to take photos and things like that. I know that my fight with Mike was a little goofy. I didn't really know what to do halfway through, so I just made things up, and then I pretended to pat him on the head. I don't know what that was. But I think it went well. I think everybody really liked our costumes. So far, the con has been amazing. I will say it's a little hot in here. All these feathers, all this fur, it's not the coolest costume. I mean, it's cool, but it's not cool, if you know what I mean. But so far, it's been a lot of fun. Lots of great people here, and it's been fun taking photos with everyone. I think the next couple of days will be a lot of fun. As always, I mean, we've been to MarsCon year after year, and it's always been a lot of fun. I like the theme this year. I like puppies, so werewolves are just hardcore puppies.
We're here at MarsCon finally. It was a lot of stress getting here, getting set up. We had a lot of things that, you know, kind of hindered getting set up or not. But everything went great. The audience seemed to really like my cheesy jokes. They seemed to like the vehicle. They seemed to like Mike's werewolf costume and Jessica's werewolf huntress costume. And so their little skit of them fighting was cute. And yeah, it was just fantastic. The car is horrific turning radius, so it was a lot to get one single turn. And I did bend one of the hood pieces because I turned too far. So, but anyway, all in all, it was an awesome time so far. And we've got the rest of the weekend to sit here and sell books and talk about the show, and hopefully get a whole bunch more subscribers so that you folks looking at this at the networks are going, dang, we better sign them quick. Because you better. So it's a huge relief because, you know, the show and the projects as it ended is nothing at all like what we started. But that's the cool process about making things and what we really want to convey to people who watch the show. So in that regard, it was a big success. It's a huge relief that people like it and they appreciate the props. So that's great. I'm actually going to go have myself a little scotch now and chill out a little bit. So probably the best part about this is that it's been our hometown convention of MarsCon, and we're really happy that you stuck around this far along in the episode to get to this point. So thank you for watching. We'll see you next episode.
Just glue some gears on it and call it steampunk. That's the trendy fashion nowadays. A copper-painted chunk of some 1980s junk will fetch a pretty penny on eBay.